Hi, gorgeous Sagittarius. This is your astrology reading for the month of October. Now, to be honest, I'm trying to make the videos only be a half hour long. So I'm giving you like a generic round view of everything that's going on for you, starting from the Sagittarius point of view, going with the first house being Sagittarius. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus in Sagittarius. Now, I want to say before I get any deeper into it, if you are coming to me and you're under the Venus being in the Sagittarius, please understand I am not viewing this from a love point of view. I'm viewing it from a sensitivity point of view. So you will understand where we are looking at things when we get through looking into all of the houses. And like I said, in order for me to put all of that into, a half hour video for you, I have to make it somewhat of generic. If you are more interested in a more personal, up close and personal for your own life, you can always book appointments with me down below. But considering I'm doing it for, a universal standpoint, I'm leaving it somewhat of generic. But there is always opportunities for you to, come to me for tarot or for shamanic work or for astrology, any of that. And all of that information is down below on how to book appointments for me or with me. As well as, if you do enjoy the videos, please go back out and check out the tarot, in whatever signs it is that you choose that you want to view them under. Okay, with that being said, I am going to give you the highlights of the month, and then we're going to walk through the houses. I'm also being told right off the bat there's some sensitivity going in the 6th house, and we will check that out in just a minute. It's just what I'm seeing right off the bat. Okay, so we have Pluto, which is going direct on the 3rd. Now you had Pluto, which will be going direct on the 3rd, but remember, Saturn just went direct, and Pluto moves even slower than Saturn. So these two are going to be coming together very soon, and their energy is definitely building together. And I felt like I've been saying that if you live in this area where I live, we go to King's Dominion for one of our amusement parks, and I've been using the drop zone as the energy of what this seems to feel like for me, because until Pluto goes forward, even though Saturn already does, it feels like it's still the energy of that amusement park ride. And that ride goes way up in the air. I mean, like way up in the air, and then you kind of like sit there for a few minutes. And that's okay at first. And then you start looking around. That's still okay. You're kind of up there for a while. And then you're like, okay, we've been up here for a while, but did they forget us? Is the ride broken? Are we stuck? You start getting into these anxieties because you're just dangling. And then finally, by the time you start to get comfortable with it, it falls. I feel like this is the energies we've been coming up to as we approach this Pluto going direct, and as it falls, things will start to take off and actually move. Until then, we've just been dangling in the energy. Now, like I said, on the 3rd, Pluto is going direct. Saturn will still be moving towards it because Pluto moves even slower than Saturn. You have Mercury, which is going to be moving into Scorpio on the same day. Then on the 4th, you have Mars, which is moving into Libra. On the 8th, you have Venus, which is moving into Scorpio. Then on the 13th, you have the full moon, which takes place in Aries. And this is when I'm going to kind of step into this a little bit. So for you, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That universal 5th house is going to be taking place. That full moon is going to be taking place in that universal 5th house, which is Aries. And Aries has Chiron in it at this time. Okay, so this is definitely going to be bringing up things about your pursuit of pleasure. When you're speaking to your childlike personality, the things that make you enjoy life, the things that allow you to play and get out and be excited in life, where are you not necessarily addressing these issues? Because the universal 5th house is what brings us joy. It's also our creative expression. And if we're not coming from a joyous place, our creative expression can't be joyous either. So it is speaking to the full moon coming in, bringing illumination to what's not quite, tipping you into happiness, into enjoyment, into your pursuit of pleasure in a healthy, positive way, and helping you to see what things need to be changed so that you can find that pursuit of pleasure. And as you find that pursuit of pleasure, it always goes back to helping you strengthen your inner emotional security. That is going to be taking place, like I said, on the 13th in full moon of Aries. However, it will be dealing with also showing you from that universal 12th house, which for you is the 4th house, speaking of where emotional inner security is lacking because of the lack of joy, where you're not being able to overcome those karmic lessons and find the enjoyment and security in your life that makes you feel secure about yourself and where you're going. This is how reincarnation is made. However, that's also going to be coming out. That explains why they were saying sensitivity in the universal 6th house, because the 6th house is the daily mundane tasks and the people, places, and things and the routines that we keep and the energy that we consume that either gets in the way of us being able to find that pursuit of pleasure, pursue it, and find enjoyment, which then leads right back to the inner emotional security. That happens to be for you. That happens to be for you, Taurus. And your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem is all standing in these everyday, daily, mundane tasks. You're wanting to stand up for yourself. You're wanting to speak your mind more. You're wanting to be creative and take new chances within these routines. You're wanting to experience and be liberated within these new routines. And Vista is in retrograde right now. It's also in Taurus. So it's asking you, what about getting right within here are you missing? Because you're putting so much energy into those daily mundane routines. So what aren't you being able to experience, change, and do that you wish you could do, but you've been holding on to these other routines that are actually keeping you from being where you want to be? So what shifts need to be changed? Where do these sensitivities need to be tweaked and put into a positive instead of a negative? And you're going to be acknowledging that at this time. Plus, this is Taurus, so you just want your daily routines to be happy, to be things that bring the beauty to you, but you're stubborn about making the changes. And the changes may be beautiful changes. It just seems like you're insecure about taking that chance, but there's things there that are definitely there to illuminate you. Now, when that pretty much all had to do with your full moon energy. You also have the sun, which is moving into Scorpio on the 23rd. You have the new moon, which will be taking place on the 27th. You have Halloween or Samhain, which is taking place on the 31st. That's going to be a major day, not just because it's a Halloween day or Samhain day, no, but because you have Moon, Ceres, and Jupiter all in the same degree in Sagittarius on Halloween, Samhain. And that's going to be a powerful day. But everybody up until the 23rd is pretty much calling this Libra season because it is. And with that idea of it being Libra season, everybody's saying, you know, we want to see the beauty, we want to see the harmony, we want to see the balance, we want to see the justice in the relationships. And that's true. But they're seeing the side of what they want. They're not seeing the truths. Most of these astrologers aren't. Because Libra right now also has the collective consciousness in it. That's Haumea. It also has Make in it, which is the lotus flower, asking you to get right with where you are on the growth of the lotus flower. Are you still in the muddy, murky water? that you can't see through? I mean, it's just muddy and you can't see 2 inches in front of your face? Are you just starting to get like, the alligator that's licking its eyes out of the water and you're just starting to see, but you haven't actually come up and bloomed? This, in spirit, is giving me, this is a time to actually rise. Step tall, shine, and smell the bloom is what they're actually after. Bring your consciousness to that higher elevated level. Lift up and out of that muddy, murky water. This is how you're going to make these relationships in your life, and the rules and the walls and the boundaries and the community and the memberships, the friendships, all help illuminate you by using that collective consciousness. That Mercury, which happens to be going into, it's actually coming out of Libra. Sorry, it'll be Mars, which is here, asking you to get right with your inner sacral chakra, how you feel about yourself, and be honest about how you feel about yourself, as well as it's still going to have the sun here with it until the 23rd. So illuminating the truth within these relationships, starting with the truth of how you feel about the relationship to yourself and how you feel about yourself in these relationships. If you can't be right with the true you and what your part is in the relationship, then the relationship will fail anyway, because it's about if it's being a good relationship to you. And you're going to be noticing that as you come into the new moon, it takes all that energy into Scorpio. I mean, the moon, we're looking at the fact that everything says it's about Libra, but it's not. It's about Scorpio all month long. I mean, in honesty, everything is going to Scorpio and pointing to Scorpio about the illumination and what needs to find its new beginnings starting in Scorpio, which is all about resurrection, finding a new resurrection, a new birth, because Scorpio energy is about the birth, the death, and the rebirth. It's also fertility. It is how this changes. The mystery of life itself is the Scorpio energy. But for you, that Scorpio energy is... For you, it's the 12th house. So for you, it's definitely getting into some of the depths of your hidden waters in your closets, like your skeletons that are in the closets that have closets with more skeletons in the closets. Okay, so it's definitely getting right with all of these karmic lessons, these karmic deaths, your griefs, your sorrow, your shame, your self-deception, your self-undoing, your your hidden unconsciousness that you keep from yourself. You're going to be acknowledging this all month long as it builds to that new moon so that you can rebirth. And then bringing you to the Halloween energy. Pallas is going to be in Scorpio as well. Ura is in is in Virgo as well. So these are energies that, most people aren't going to be speaking to you about. Haumea, Make, Vista, being in retrograde. Pallas being in Scorpio. Ura being in Virgo. That's just some of the areas nobody else is going to be speaking to you about. And I'm being told you all need to be courageous, but I feel temperance, like the temperance card, very in your waters, but emotionally balanced, very temperance, and allowing yourself to heal those inner waters as you walk through them for the karmic lessons to be made. All right, your higher self and your self-awareness are somewhat of one and the same at this time, because Jupiter is in Sagittarius, okay? Jupiter is in Sagittarius, but that's your universal first house. So this is your self-awareness, your physical body, your personality, your appearance, your ID, your image, your view of life. But Jupiter is here, and it's been here all year, and it's bringing abundance and higher knowledge to this. But I also call Sagittarius and Jupiter the higher self. So the higher self is definitely connecting in here. And it could be a positive thing or a negative thing depending on where you take that. And the reason I say that is because Ceres is coming closer all month, and right when they're going to be in perfect alignment with each other and the moon on Halloween, Samhain Day. Okay, and then the moon will be with that, like I said. But Ceres is nurturing. She speaks to you of what's nurturing or what's being neglected. So, what part of your self awareness, your physical body, your appearance, your view, your image, your core, your shine, your illumination of that very self awareness, what parts are being nurtured and what parts are being neglected? Because Jupiter is going to have no choice but to illuminate it more and more and more as the month goes on, and the moon tops it on Halloween. So there's something there either incredibly powerful growing that's going to help project you in a brand new way, or something there that you're unconscious to that's bringing itself full circle so that it has to still project itself in a new way. But it's either you're aware and you're working with yourself, or you've been going against the flow and it's going to smack you and put you in the right direction come Halloween. Now, that universal second house for you happens to be Capricorn, where you have Pluto and Saturn. This is your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. And it's also how you create and spend your money. You also have the South Node here. Like I said, they've just come out of retrograde, Pluto and Saturn. They're leaving, getting away from that South Node a little bit. But this is all about reincarnation of that self-worth, that self-value, that self-esteem by coming into a new level of self-awareness and how and what you are or not doing to support those energies. When you're in the proper flow of this energy, you're also bringing more abundance to you, which then also brings in more money, financial, possessions to you in this positive way, because your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, you feel good about yourself. So that flow is coming into you. But when you're not, because you're learning these lessons, you're actually projecting it outward against you. It's just the way that it works. So this is something that you're definitely seeing over this month. But this isn't just this month. This has been like this whole, second half of the year, especially, with Saturn moving in, and you're going to be seeing this continuously because there's something about the self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem you've gotten incredibly good at that doesn't support you anymore. And it's something about that needs to be changed. New rules, walls, and boundaries that will help support you in a new positive way. But it takes courage to realize what those things are that you're using, you're holding on to, that you're working against, and moving it in a new positive way. The third house is your messaging system. This is Aquarius. You don't have anything going good or bad for you here. Your messaging system is as always. Unless something takes a change and some planets move in, there's nothing special here to talk about outside of it's the way you communicate. The fourth house happens to be Pisces. This is definitely speaking to you about getting right with your inner emotional security. Pisces, we were already talking about this one, about where Neptune happens to be right now and Lilith happens to be right now. And it's asking you to get deep into some of those karmic truths, some of those karmic lessons, your skeletons in the closet that have skeletons in the closet that's kept you from getting to know your true inner emotional security. This is the energy that you're looking at. Are you holding on to the idea that's nostalgically telling you who and what you were in the past? Because fuck that. You are only who you are from this day and moving forward. You may be looking back at a part of yourself that you liked, and you may be looking back at a part of yourself that you didn't like. It doesn't matter. It's who you're going to be now and what you need to realize about yourself that provides that inner emotional security. This is how you tap into the magic with your sacral chakra, and you create it by feeling good about yourself and knowing yourself and bringing that power back to yourself. This is what helps move you forward instead of keeping you stagnant or moving backwards. The universal fifth house happens to have Chiron in it. Again, we were talking about this. This is about what you are not getting right, because Chiron is the wounded healer, asking what part of these, the pursuit of pleasure is keeping you from enjoying life and actually getting out and playing part in life the way you want to, desiring the things you want to desire, getting past, what hasn't been able to be healed because you've been holding on to these ideas of what makes you happy, but deep down they don't. So you need to make shifts as to getting, going after the experiences of what does bring that desire of pleasure to you, that desire of happiness and enjoyment. And as you do that, you also start to heal that inner emotional security and find yourself, your true real self, your true identity, your true higher self, and your true authority to be able to find that security within yourself. You start to heal that because this is Chiron pointing out where you're not getting it. Okay, now in the universal sixth house, you don't have anything here. Wait. Yeah, the universal sixth house is, I was wrong. It's the seventh house you have nothing in. The universal sixth house has Taurus in it. It's Taurus with Uranus in it and Vesta. Your soul fire is asking you what part of your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, that very self-worth, self-value, self-esteem that allows you to stand in your own unique power isn't being illuminated within the routines that you keep. What part of these daily tasks, these daily patterns, these daily habits that you are keeping every day, your daily mundane tasks, where you're not being able to shine and illuminate and be you and separate yourself from the rest of the world because you're able to be you. And it's asking you what part of the energies that you consume in these daily patterns, as well as the people, places, and things, don't support you being the true you. And being able to bring that up and out of you. And the soul fire is getting in touch with the independence, the individuality, uniqueness, and freedom, and questioning it, saying, this is what's keeping you from expressing yourself, being you within these daily patterns, which takes you right back to finding the enjoyment and the pursuit of pleasure. And, like the enjoyment, the pursuit of pleasure, your inner creativity, your creative expression, your inner child being able to be freed, which then also brings you right back to your inner emotional security. So these daily mundane tasks are incredibly important about you expressing your true self. Now, in that seventh house, when we move into that, that's the relationship zone. That's Gemini. There is not anything here at the moment. So it doesn't mean that there's anything good or anything bad. It just means at the moment there's no planets passing through here. So nothing is working for you and nothing is working against you. So technically that is a good thing. As we move in to Cancer, that's your universal eighth house. This is where the rules and the responsibilities of these relationships are coming into play. This is the joint finances within the relationship, joint efforts, joint resources within the relationships. And you have the North Node here and the Sirius star here still. And this is asking you, what about these relationships you have to get right in order to move forward? And that's what the North Node does, period. Plus it's asking you, are you nesting in the right places of these relationships and their rules? Are you getting comfortable allowing things, relationships and their rules to go willy-nilly without necessarily putting your foot down is part of it here. Have you been nesting in an area that maybe you should be speaking up in? Have you just been getting comfortable because it's easier to be comfortable than to fight for a fair balance in these relationships? It is time to acknowledge, is the relationships truly in a balance or not? Then you come into that ninth house. This is Leo. You don't have anything specifically here right now. So you're already in a power. You're already in your courage of that Leo, the lion, in your higher self. You have no problems here. You have nothing going for you or against you. Your higher self, you're already in tune with it. Plus, it's in your universal first house. If you've been really working on yourself, you should be rather in tune with it. If not, then it's something that you're definitely going to be seeing within that self-awareness more than higher self. It'll be bringing itself down to the self-awareness of your very core energies at this time. But there's nothing in Leo necessarily to go for or against you. Now, as you move into Virgo, this is the 10th house where your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your professional career takes place. This is the financial success and the financial and social foundations that create the financial success. This is the authority, the responsibilities within that community of what creates that honor and prestige. Right here, you are going to have mainly all month just Ura. Ura is asking you the sacrifice and commitment it takes. Are you putting in the proper sacrifice and commitment it takes to create what you're trying to create here? Or is the situation coming back to you with the proper sacrifice and commitment from that outer community that's helping support that financial foundation, that financial and social foundation that speaks to you of those outer responsibilities, that outer authority that's bringing to you the reputation and honor? Is it working for you or against you? Where is the sacrifice and commitment, and are you acknowledging it? Does it need to be tweaked? Then when you get into the 11th house for you, this happens to be Libra. Like I said, mainly everything's coming into your universal 12th house. But Libra happens to have, Venus in it. It has Venus in it up until the 8th, the very beginning. But for the most part, Libra is going to be Mars and the Sun until the 23rd. And it's going to be asking you, in the not relationship, but in your community, your friends, the 11th house is your wishes, your hopes, your dreams, your ambitions, your liberty. But the community that's part of your outer life that helps support those wishes, hopes, dreams, goals, ambitions, and creating that liberty is the community, is the memberships, are the friendships, actually true healthy peers that help you create this. Because like I said, you're going to have Mars here asking if it's your inner warrior needs to be standing in, or are you comfortable with your inner belly dancer? Are you comfortable with your sacral chakra? Are you comfortable with who and what you are? Are you bringing it to a healthy form? Because when you can look into the mirror and smile because you feel good about yourself, then that's saying a different thing about the flow that you're bringing in. But if you're looking in the mirror and you're like, what the fuck happened here? That's a different kind of idea. And this is the energy that's going on in here. Your Mars and your Sun is illuminating how you truly feel within these memberships, within these communities and these friends. Are these friends somebody that helps illuminate and bring to you and create and pat you on the back and support what you're trying to create? Are they, helping you create those goals, dreams, wishes, ambitions? Or are they not really there to do that? And you'll be acknowledging that. As you enter the universal 12th house, that's when you are going to find that you have Palace, the strategic thinking. Then you have, Mercury, which is also going to be going into shadow, like I said, around the 14th, even though she goes retrograde or he goes retrograde on Halloween Day. And you have Venus bringing extra sensitivity to all that you're unconscious to. A lot of dark communication coming into yourself, a lot of sensitivity coming into yourself, and Athena, the warrior goddess, with strategic thinking coming into your karmic debts, your self-sabotage, your self-deception, your self-undoing, asking you what you haven't been able to heal in your grief, your sorrow, your shame, and your blame. The secrets that the skeletons in the closet, keep in another closet. This is about bringing healing to the 12th house and putting an end, finally, to all that hasn't healed so a new beginning can begin. Maybe a little bit of a tough month depending on where you are on your path, but it's definitely projected to bring you to a brand new path with a brand new light. I love you guys. Bye.